I had some stuff come up around mind body, questions and just stuff that I was kind of experiencing. I kind of chatted with you a little bit. I'll say my part and then you can speak on it as well. So for me, I wanted to talk a little bit about the mind and how it can kind of fuck with you, and how you can hear it but not maybe react to it, I guess is kind of like the perspective that I take. So for me, my mind started to get a little nutty and was, trying to tear me down, like, oh, who are you to talk about this? Who are you to speak on this subject? A lot of the things that I work on with myself and that you and I are talking about. There was just a negativity that came up in my mind, and I didn't react to it. I heard it. I shared it with you.
Yep.
I also shared it with my sister, and she was like, you should talk about it, like bring light to it, because that is the struggle. Like the mind tells us what to do until we realize that when we sit in meditation, when we do work, when we get into spiritual growth, when we're out of our ego, it can still run and say whatever shit it wants, but we don't have to buy it. We don't have to react to it. We don't have to believe it to be, truth. Am I some authority? No, but I did educate myself and I did walk the journey of, getting into a spiritual lifestyle, and it takes fucking work. And my mind can say whatever it wants, but I have not chosen an easy lifestyle, to live in truth and authenticity. Like I'm definitely an outcast and have been for like a long time.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah. And it's lonely sometimes when you're a leader and you're different. And that's been something I've had to like really honor and cherish and stuff, because, you see a lot of dark with the light. You have to go through a lot of darkness and stuff. And people, the majority don't live that way, and everyone, wants to kind of blame each other, but whatever. I don't want to like get into the whole thing. I just wanted to share that no matter how much work we do on ourselves, we're still human. We're still going to have that human struggle. But if you can get to a point where you can kind of look at it like independently and just go, okay, but that's not all of who I am. And people will love my message. People will resonate with the message, and they will kind of, we all kind of have the human condition. We all share that with each other. I'm not a Buddhist. I'm not enlightened. I didn't go away for 10 years and get away from humanity. So, I live with the human struggle every day. I just choose not to let it like run me, I guess. And then quickly, I just want to say that also on a positive note, the mind is so powerful that it literally tells the body what to do, and it does it. So for me personally, I make my body go to the gym every day or every night. I, make my body take in, I choose my foods that I want to eat. I want to eat healthy foods, or I want to have something that's not healthy or whatever. But, when people are struggling and saying like, oh, I work all day or whatever excuses they have, that's up here. Your body will do what you tell it to. So if you're saying all day, like, oh, I don't feel like going to the gym, I'm tired, I'm this, then your body's not going to go, and it's like, just like we nourish our soul and we nourish, our body, our mind has to be nourished too, and give, credit to, like I started saying to my body and my mind, like, thank you for being strong and like forcing me to do this. And now I'm in condition, and now I'm in habit. And, I've had it since I was young, but I think that it's just connected and it needs to be talked about too. Like the mind literally runs the body. If you want to change it physically in regards to fitness and exercise and stuff.
So first of all, stop talking like that, because you are more than qualified to speak on this stuff. You've been counseling people for how many years? Like 20 years now. So you're absolutely qualified to speak on things and share experiences from yourself, and without mentioning names, maybe other, people that you've helped, and, just share a little bit of their story. Maybe it helps resonates with somebody else. So you're definitely qualified. One thing that I always tell people, and I learned this very, very early on in my journey, and it's the stupidest thing, but I tell myself it all the time. You don't have to believe your own thoughts. Your soul is the conscious observer of your mind and body, and your mind is a machine. It is a computer. It is helping you remember stuff, think stuff, make calculations, make decisions, short-term, long-term memories. And when the mind goes idle, meaning you're not working, you're not focused, you're not on task, and you have some alone time, and you're
Mm,
not in a practice of where you can clear your mind and sit and relax without having racing thoughts. And don't get me wrong, it takes a lot of work to get there, but you don't have to believe those thoughts. Just because you get a thought in your mind doesn't mean it's right. Who hasn't, a relationship or a situation, or like somebody at work ate my yogurt out of the refrigerator. You're like, I know it was you, son of a bitch. And you get all mad at them. And it turns out they weren't even at work that day. Just your mind like makes these logic connections and you automatically believe it. It's a simple sentence, but people don't realize that. And then it's absolutely right what you said, like the gym. Oh, I don't feel like going. I don't feel like, we've all been there. I don't feel like, I don't have the
mm,
energy. And me and myself, we talked about it the other day. I said, I came back from a trip and I didn't really get to work out much while I was down there. And I came home and I was kind of like not going for, this is only for like maybe 2 weeks, like the week I was gone and the week I got back. And I was like, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm going. I didn't feel like it. I'm going to half-ass it. And I went for a half hour, another half-ass hour the next, and then 2, 3 days later, I'm back in the routine. But it's just doing that mindset, like I'm going to go. And here's the thing too, like after work, and I get it, kids tired, but like you do, if you make that time after work or that hour or that 45 minutes or whatever you can do, you're going to start feeling better and you're going to look forward to that time.
and the body gets in a habit and wants it. Like right
Yes.
now, all right, so I go to the gym. My schedule is I try to go to the gym by 4:30, which is when my kids are settled after school. Right now, I can feel my energy getting like high. It's like my body is like it wants to go.
Mhm.
And I can't even not go. Like I have to go because I'm in this like rhythm of go to the gym, then I get hungry, then I can relax and sleep well and whatever. So it also is like once you get into that habit, your body is also like your mind. It wants to stay, we're creatures of habit.
Yes.
You have good habits and you have good hobbies. It's going to be easier to like have a better, happier, more peaceful lifestyle. You're not going to say yes to maybe some unhealthy choice. And I'm not talking about food. I'm talking about hanging out with someone that is a drag or whatever.
Mhm.
Getting into a relationship where your needs aren't getting met. Because you're committing to yourself so much. You're like, fuck that. I'm committed to myself. I want someone that's committed to me too and committed to their self. And
Right.
then, things kind of like line up like that. I mean, I think you can still like go to the gym and be athletic and not be committed to yourself. But I was just trying to make a point.
No,
Um,
absolutely. I mean, I don't know why you're thinking on your thought there. It's just once you get that habit and that routine, that's called also discipline. And that goes back to what we said the other day. Make your bed so your space is inviting when you get home. If you struggle sleeping, why? Unclutter your space. Clean off all the counters. Make your bed so when you get home and you're ready to go to bed, shut the TV off, shut the lights off. Like if you need background noise, listen to music. Try and change up your routine and then get the discipline to continue it. The more disciplined you get, I think with your mind, it's easier for you to like do more, meaning, okay, I'm making my bed and I'm making, an hour for the gym 3 times a week. And on the days I don't go, I'm doing a half-hour walk after dinner. It just gets easier to add on stuff because you're already disciplined.
yeah. And you're actually holding yourself accountable.
Well, your body
Uh,
feels good and you want it because you get dopamine from working out at the gym. You get, dopamine by going for a walk and, burning off the extra calories from eating or things like that.
Dopamine, endorphins.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you're getting high naturally. Um,
High-ish, I guess. Cortisol, that's another one. I'm not sure that, but I know they always talk about that stuff. But the other
cortisol,
one,
stress.
yeah, but I think if you do the exercise, it lowers your cortisol. That's what I meant. Like from exercise and
Yeah.
walking, it brings that down. I haven't been stressed about anything Oh God, I can't even tell you how long. And I mean, you and I have discussed it, personal, things that I'm working through, family stuff that's it's difficult. But have you heard me like stress or get upset about it? We talk about it in a healthy way, I just share a little bit here and there, and there's a lot more to it. And I used to get upset, and rightfully so, but you
Mm.
can't control other people's behavior. You can only control your own. And once you get into that mindset of, hey, I'm just not reacting to this. Again, that's just mental discipline, like what we're talking about, that goes through to diet, exercise, how you are handling maybe difficult people at work. It's just all that discipline and mindset. And then you realize, like, hey, I'm not getting stressed out anymore. I'm actually sleeping 6 or 7 hours at night instead of 3 and waking up every, 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I think your energy's been awesome. And for me too, like working with people, I also have someone that I work with that will hold me accountable. So when I say something or do something and I get into that like victim mentality, they'll be like, reframe and don't say that way. Like, I'll share that I got a private message where someone was insulting my body because I'm muscular, right? And that's fine. I don't really care. I'm happy with the amount of work that I do. Like, you can't buy what I do in the gym, and I work fucking hard.
Yeah.
And it's not easy. Anyone that is disciplined and was athletic in their life and goes to the gym continuously, like, you're in pain in the gym. Like, you're burning it. I mean, I love it, but it's not like, oh my God, this is like amazing. Like, it's fucking work.
Yeah, it
Right.
is.
And I had someone, insult me because I have muscles or whatever. And I went on to look at their Instagram page, and it's like they took their face and put it on a bodybuilder.
You have to send me that because it
And
sounds hilarious. You told me about it earlier.
I was like, oh, like shit, I triggered this guy. Like, he wants to go to the gym, he wants to be a bodybuilder, but he doesn't want to put in the fucking work. Like,
Yeah.
dude, no. I love that you can't buy fitness. I think that it's so gratifying that you go to work for a certain period of time and see no results until you start to see results. And I feel like the gym and fitness and exercise is like the one thing where it's fair. Like, whatever you put in, you're definitely getting back.
Mhm.
You get screwed, so many things in life is unfair. You get screwed, you get fucked over, whatever. Whatever you're giving, you're getting. And I think that that's huge. And that's part of the reason why I do it, is because I know, like, whatever work I put in, I'm going to see results. And I love to see that. I mean, it's just,
It's funny, the gym, so you'll see results real quick, and then, after 6 months, you don't see anything because it's just now it's incremental and you already kind of got to that plateau. And it's like, when you're going regularly, like you and I do, it's like you maybe notice, but like me, I was like, I wasn't noticing much. And then I started like doing like focusing more on just like certain areas and not going hard or crazy. I mean, I'm just trying to stay in shape. I'm not trying to be, I'm 5'7". I'm not a big guy. I'm not gonna be 300 pounds of muscle. But like when I go take a shower at night, I'm looking and I'm like, geez, like all these like little spots are popping. I'm like, where the hell did that guy come from? Like, where did you come from? Like, where do you have? I never saw you before. Like when you're
it doesn't,
back and stuff like that. Yeah, it's good though.
it doesn't matter how tall you are. I'm like 5'2".
No, but you know
But
what I'm saying. Like, I'm never
yeah,
gonna be a giant boy, but
it's just,
but you see it.
it's the transformation of when you work and you see results, because so many people work at something. I know for me, my first career was in law enforcement. I would work every day, and I was like, am I really making a difference? Like,
What
what
did
am
you
I
do
doing?
in law enforcement? Were you a cop? You kept saying law enforcement. You never told me what you
Nah.
did.
All right, so I was a criminal investigator, or I did like, it was customs. They changed the name a bunch of times, but I used to like board ships and deal with like international stuff, and I
Uh-huh.
kind of a bunch of different things. But
You ever find anything cool?
I don't really want to talk about it publicly. I'm not even sure
Okay,
I'm allowed. So
never mind then.
the point is that I just remember, like, when I didn't feel fulfilled, I was like, I want to do something that makes a difference. And I always loved fitness. I always loved the gym since I was young. And I cared a lot about health and, you know, being sick and stuff. I just wanted to leave like you said, I kind of want to leave knowing that I tried to help as much as I could. And I remember being like, probably like maybe 22, 23, and I was working for the government, and I had that way about me already. Like that, my personality hasn't changed. You know what I mean? Like I've changed careers and stuff like that, but I've always been kind of go 100% or do fucking nothing. Like I'm just very passionate and everything. And an older guy who was like getting ready to retire turned to me one day and was like, stop. You're never gonna change people or something. I don't know. I might have been talking about something. And I remember when he said it, it like hit me and I felt like so depressed. I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. Like I'm never gonna change people. Like I'm no matter what I do. And I was just like, that's when I was like, I don't fucking belong in this place. Like I cannot do this shit for 30 years. So I have a pension. So I can just, you know, spend the rest of my life like, I don't know, till I die, if I even make it to that point, you know, because we're not guaranteed to be here till we're old. But the point is that I was like, fuck that. I am changing people. I'm going to help people change. And I knew that was already in me. But I think I want to say is that when people try to discourage you and you feel something inside of you that you know to be true, don't let people knock you down, or if they do, try not to stay down long, and always go with like your gut and your heart, and don't just chase retirement or money or whatever, because none of that is guaranteed.
No. So I completely disagree with what that guy said too, because I'll tell you this right now, you could pass a stranger on the sidewalk. And, you know, if you just do a little act of kindness, say hello, good morning, good afternoon, something like that, you might change the whole course of that person's day. They might have had their dog might have died last night. They might have been depressed and miserable. Maybe they got nobody to talk to. And just because a stranger smiled at them and said good morning, that might change their whole mood or their mindset. And so, you know what? A small act of kindness can change, you know, help anybody. I try and get my kids to do it. When we go walking on the trails and we pass people, you know, it's pretty busy, but it's not that busy. Maybe you go walking for an hour, you maybe see 3 or 4, you know, people or sets of people. Hi, how are you? Oh, good morning, good afternoon. You know, and you get a little smile from it. You could just pass them and, you know, not ignore each other, but, you know, and when you greet them, people smile, you know, maybe they just had a blank look on their face. Good afternoon. Oh, hi. You know what I mean? Like, that's all it really takes sometimes. Not enough people do that, to be completely honest with you.
Well, I mean, it used to be like that back in the day. Everyone helped each other, community, neighborhoods. I mean, from what I was told from my father, like, you know, everyone was there for each other. It wasn't this way that our society is right now. And it could go back to that. We just need a certain amount. I remember when I was in school and we were learning about meditation and stuff, and they forced us to go like get a therapist. They were like, you got to get a therapist. You got to like learn what it's like. Da, da, da. And I remember they talked about quantum physics and stuff before it was a thing, and said like if 10% of the population was at peace, the rest of the population would have no choice. It's called group consciousness. It would have no choice but to also be at peace. Now, it sounds like a small amount, but 10%, you know, when we have what, 8 billion people. So, I mean, I'm not going to try to do the math in my head. If you want, you can.
800 million.
Yeah. So it's still a good amount that we need to have peace as our like primary mission, or to be like in our heart, and, you know, and to be doing this kind of work. And you don't have to be in peace like all the time. It's just wanting peace. Like it's a general like intention, right?
Yep.
So it's like 2 people get together. One person wants casual, one person wants a relationship. The intentions don't match. That group consciousness is not going to happen, right? It's a simple standard.
So the reason I wanted to do this with you is because the last couple of years I've been doing a lot of work, and I think when we first met, you were kind of skeptical about where I was at, and I think over some time you're like, all right, this little shit's done this stuff, like he knows enough. But the majority, no, I'm just being a smart ass, but I'm saying the majority of the information I got and what I learned and the aha moments were videos like this. Just they weren't, the big YouTubers, Jay Shatty and those guys. It wasn't those people. It was smaller channels with, a few thousand viewers or whatever, and just listening to them share their experiences and how
Mm,
they got and how they worked through things. That's where I got the most information. So I think conversations like this, regular people, you know what I mean, sharing and giving their, viewpoints that have come this way. Now, with the rising consciousness of the whole world, you're 100% right. You want to know what my kids say to their friends when they're on the phone? Love you, man. See you tomorrow, bro. Stuff like that. Like they are just comfortable with telling their friends that they love them. You know what I mean? And I
yeah.
get it's just what they hear, but that carries through. You know what I mean? Like it's
Well,
it makes me
we're,
smile when I hear them say things like that. Like, love you, man. See you tomorrow. And I get it. They're just doing it as like, they're not old enough to really, know what that means. But the fact that they're communicating that when they become adults, they're going to be more comfortable and at ease saying that to them. Like, make it weird, man. Tell your friends and family you love them and hug the shit out of them all the time. Make it like hug my kids and tell them I love them every single day that I'm with them. And you know why? My dad's old school Italian. I get much affection from him. My mom, a little bit, but not as much. So I go out of my way to do it. You know why? So that's going to break that generational cycle. And when they have kids, it's just going to be common for them to hug and kiss that kid every day and tell them that they love them. And you want to know what? Kids need to hear that. So do adults, but kids need to hear that. It's not
yeah,
implied when you're a child. They need to hear it.
yeah, I agree. Words carry energy. Um, we're
But
gonna
that
do.
mindset that we've been talking about this whole time, if you tell the
Mm,
child every day that you love them, and you give them a hug and you give them a kiss, okay? That's going to build their self-worth, their self-confidence. You know what I mean? It's going to build them up rather than, oh, you did something bad. Now I have to yell at you. Oh, they don't like me. And, if you're not doing those things, or if you have to discipline every kid. But then later that night you talk about it and you give them a kiss and a hug and tell them you love them. And then the next day it's back to that. That builds self-esteem, that builds value for
mm,
themselves. When they become an adult, they're going to be hopefully well-adjusted adults, you know what I mean, or secure in themselves with themselves.
yeah, and the other important thing I think that builds self-esteem is that you're held accountable to your word. That's something that needs to be taught more. It's not something that's taught in schools. I'm teaching it to my kids because I'm not, you know, I like to, we already said this, I'm not raising more assholes. Um,
No.
you give your word, you keep it unless there's like a big reason why. And when you give your word and you keep it, it's not about the other person so much as about building your character. And you're like, oh, I'm accountable. Like I have some morality. Like you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
it's, oh, I'm doing the right thing or something like that. It's more about like just keeping your word to yourself. And it's simple, but some values and things get lost. And, I've realized as I've counseled adolescents and stuff, and a lot of them come from money and they suffer with anxiety, the pressure is on grades and what college you're getting into and what kind of like, how many activities can you do at once to put on your your application
Application,
and yeah, and your essay and this and that. And I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I don't even have to counsel the kid. I feel like I have to counsel the parents. Like,
yeah. Right.
these are not important things. All right. I understand you want to go to a good college. I mean, I went to college. If you choose to go to college or you don't choose to go to college, I don't think it fucking matters anymore because there's so many other things that you can do nowadays. Um, but I was like the first one in my family to go to college. My father had an eighth grade education. I think my mom only high school. And, I wanted to get out of Rhode Island. I wanted to go somewhere warm, whatever. So now it's like there's so much extreme placed on kids, grades, this, that. There's so much pressure that they don't even care about what kind of human being they're being to each other. It's more
Uh-huh.
about competing, like my grade's better than this person, that I'm better than this person because my grade is better. And so there's other things that need to be kind of valued too.
I mean, school, like I know so many people with master's degrees and they just can't even, they're just doing something stupid for a living. Honestly, like, because my background's in the trades as well as going to college and doing business and stuff. And I'll tell you right now, like kids get out of school and they get into a trade right out of high school, apprentice, in 5 years, they're making six figures. And you know what? If you can work with your hands, you're never going to be out of work. Get a license to be a plumber, an electrician, an HVAC, whatever. Like your services are going to be in demand a couple of years from now, 5, 10 years from now, AI will probably replace 90% of, menial office jobs and things like that. And it's like, it's also work pool. Everybody wants to go to college. You get no guarantee from college anymore. Okay, well now I need a master's and I can get a guarantee. That was there's no more guarantee with the master's. So now what do? You're going to go get a doctorate and put yourself into like $300,000 in student loans that you'll be paying back until you're 90. I mean, there's no easy solution.
What do you think the bottom line is? What do you think that I'm trying to say, like, about, and you can talk a little bit about this too, because you have a background both going to college and working, right? Because your father said, I want you to also get a trade, not go to college. So speak a little bit about where you think you learned more. Did you learn more in college, or did you learn more by getting involved and getting out there and working? Like,
You want the honest answer?
And I'm not
fucking
saying
street. I learned all my life lessons, how to hustle, how to be a man, like how to get shit done on the streets. That's it. I mean, not that I grew up in Compton or anything like that. I mean, I grew up in a city just north of Boston. It's a city. Not that I ever did anything horrible, but yeah, street smarts. You can't buy that in college. You cannot, just like you can't buy a gym body, you cannot buy street smarts. You either have it or you do not have it. Street smarts will carry you all the way. There's a book I read. I'll have to look up the name of it, but it was basically all these CEOs from the S&P 500 companies, okay, that are on the NASDAQ. And they interviewed all these CEOs, and it was basically shady shit they did to get. One guy was, when marijuana was illegal, running like multiple grow houses and took all that money, put it in a legitimate business, converted it, things like that. They were doing sketchy stuff, but these like literally CEOs of Fortune 500 companies telling them. I don't think they put the names, but there's probably about 15 or 16, 15 to 20 different CEOs. I don't think they named the companies. They said the industry. They were on the S&P. It's a good book, but it was like insane. Some of the stories, things that these guys did, right? Just street hustlers. And they took that money and like, you know what I mean? Like created like an actual legit business out of it. And I think that it also teaches you common sense. It also teaches you that awareness, like we were talking about. You feel somebody's vibe. If that's off, you know they're going to be up to something shifty. That intuition will work out for you in, business or whatever field you go into. I mean, it's like life lessons that you can't learn. As far as in the trades, my dad was right. He didn't deter me from going to college. What he said was, get your electrical license, put it in your pocket, go to college and do whatever the hell you want. And if something doesn't pan out, you can always fall back on work. And you know what? I had a mortgage company in the early 2000s. I rode that wave. The '08 crash, I lost everything that I had built over all that time. And guess what I did? I did electrical work and I was making six figures a year. And all my friends were struggling, trying to find something. I mean, they all did and they all landed on their feet, but I was able to just transition right into something else and pay my bills and earn money, Yeah.
So your dad's smart, right? And he was probably more street smart. And that's
street smart. Yeah, he does. But I mean, my brother does as well. But I mean, some people just don't have that. They just don't. And the people that do are going to eat them alive. So maybe my one takeaway, get yourself some street smarts or whatever.
Yeah, that, or, I mean, I'm not a big proponent of military, but I think for some men to learn discipline, and
I think if you need it and you're like a trouble kid, you had like a rough go of it, or you're getting into trouble early, yes, military will give you that discipline and it will take out of the equation the ability to go do the bad stuff or, hang around with certain people that you shouldn't be, get you into trouble or whatnot. Yeah, that's, it's definitely an option.
All right.
I thought about doing it because I wanted them to pay for law school, and they used to have that GI Bill where they would pay for your college back when we were younger. And I went to try, the National Guard paid for it, and I went and took the test. And I graduated college. The recruiter picked me and one other kid up at our houses and drove us there. I think I got a 99 and the other kid got like a 98. Like they were hard for us to go. And I didn't go because they wouldn't guarantee me the money for school. They tried bullshit me. I'm like, put it in writing. I'm not signing shit. And they wouldn't do it. The other kid was going to pilot school, which I was also interested in, but they said I had to do like 3 years in Alabama to learn how to fly planes or whatever. So I wasn't at a point where I wanted to spend 3 years learning how to fly. I didn't want it that bad at the time. But this
The
kid,
badass though.
well, the other kid, I think he failed his eye color test. Like you had to,
Mm.
it's something stupid, and he had to retake his test. Like he already took it and passed, but he failed the colorblind test or something stupid. And he took it again, he passed it, but he had to retake the test. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean it. I think if you get into the military, you become a pilot. Like that's pretty badass. They don't pick a lot of people.
Oh, I could have done whatever the hell I wanted. You want to know what they wanted me to do? This is what they
Mm.
wanted me to do. This is the job they offered me. They wanted me, I was going to go into immediately into officer school. So I'd be like, I would go in as the highest you could possibly go into boot camp with. Immediately from there, 6 months of officer school. I forget what rank out. He told me the whole thing. And then they wanted me to shoot like, run a team of like 6 people to shoot like howitzers, like the giant long range guns that shoot like miles away, like just big cannons pretty much. I was like, yeah, nah, bro. Those are getting targeted. I'm all good. I'm all good. I don't care how far I'm shooting away people. Like I'm like on the red list. Man, nah, good. I don't feel that would be the best way I could help the U.S. military. I feel it was probably the highest bonus he would get for assigning me to that as a recruiter, because that's how they get paid. Whatever.
Yeah.
Is what it is. All right. So we got 6 minutes and your daughter's gonna be home soon, any minute. So what do you got for closing thoughts on this one?
I don't know. I feel like I touched on mostly everything I wanted to kind of share. So just wrapping up, the mind chatter and, you can kind of notice the ego versus, the higher self. The ego is louder. And it's usually from a negative point of view.
Until you kill it.
It's your intuition, it's your higher self. It's usually quieter, it's softer, but it's still there. Because I'm constantly, and we're gonna do one with the cards, and I'll show a little bit kind of what I do, but I'm always like saying to my guides and guardians and stuff, and I want to talk about my background and shit that happened to me growing up and how I get into this. But you know, we can ask for direction too. If people are lost and they're at like a really tough point in their life, just know that things don't always stay the same. They can get better.
They do get better.
And you can choose for them to change. You just have to decide. And once you decide, then things start to really, there's a clip that Andrew Tate shares about when he was in prison and he was like super depressed. And he said he decided to make people smile every day because he was depressed. And when he would see people smile and he would like make them laugh, he felt good. That's connection. That shows we're connected. You smile, I'm going to smile. You're miserable, I'm going to feel that. Like, we have to all start realizing like it's our responsibility, and then we're all connected. Those are two big keys that can change a lot of lives.
Yeah, it's the same I was saying about when I, just say hi to people just to see their reaction, or say something nice to somebody just to like make them smile. That makes you feel good. Like you made that person smile. Maybe you're the only person that made them smile that day. But yeah, it's funny he said that. But I think another big takeaway is what I said earlier. You don't have to believe your own thoughts, and changing your mindset is everything. First time we hung out, you told me, I said I was having difficulties with the person. You said, no, things are amenable. That's how when people ask, how are things with this person? They're amenable. Change your mindset, get away from it, even if it's amenable, and make it happen. And I do that. And it was the other one you said, set your intention. Everything's working out. Things have been working out, to be honest with you. So it's good when you keep yourself in those mindsets. Look, even if you stumble and something goes bad, or something small that might set you up, hey, everything's worked. Look at these 6 other things that worked out for me in the last few weeks. And just this one little thing, I'm not going to get hung up or upset. Just keep pushing forward,
Yep, definitely. All right.